Hello there. Do you think that countries like France, Germany and Italy will be joining the UK in this one? The UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson has reaffirmed that even if Ukraine and Russia sign up to a ceasefire, UK sanctions against Russia will continue. The PM's spokesman told reporters after today's cabinet meeting, the Prime Minister said a ceasefire alone would not be cause for UK sanctions to be removed on Russia. He said the pressure on Putin must be increased, both through further economic measures and providing military aid to ensure Russia changes course completely. Now, judging on their responses to all this so far, I'm doubting very much if certain countries, especially EU states that I could name, will be as one with the UK on that. Now, I'm assuming we're talking about a ceasefire to conduct more meaningful peace talks than have been evident thus far, a ceasefire leading to a permanent treaty. But a ceasefire where the UK and possibly other Western nations continue to feed arms and cash to Zelensky while Putin restocks his troops and both sides manoeuvre for advantage in case the talks fail, and that will be a fraught time. Especially as Putin has warned NATO that supplying military aircraft and air defence systems to Ukraine would be met with what Russians term as an appropriate response. But Russia now says that its main aims have been completed and that it will move on to the Donbass region to take control of it. So Putin seems to be signalling that he is content with taking Crimea and Donbass. But will Ukrainians be happy about this, considering how hard Putin has found the going to be against Western armed Ukrainian troops? Even though there's been talk that Putin would not object to whatever remains of Ukraine joining the European Union, eventually. Although to get there, the EU would probably need to invest an awful lot of money in rebuilding the country and its economy first. And how much does Ukraine now trust the EU after it watched it finance the war against their own country via oil and gas payments to Russia? And will Putin be happy with this in the long term, given he still has no land bridge between Russia and Crimea? And how about the risk of allowing Ukraine to once again strangle water supplies from the Dnieper River through to the canal that supplies Crimea, should Russia cede too much of the ground it has captured in the south of Ukraine in the Kherson Oblast? Now, another thing to factor in is whether or not Vladimir Putin has lost any of his power and influence at the top over the last month. Have others in the Kremlin spotted an opening? Is Putin's grip on the country loosening? Is this why his troops are pulling back from the Ukrainian capital? Anyway, all of this would have to be thrashed out in lengthy peace talks, and if Ukraine was expected to give away swathes of territory to Russia, Zelensky has already said this would require the permission of the people of Ukraine via a referendum. But is that a referendum in just Zelensky-controlled Ukraine, or all of what the international community recognises as Ukraine, i.e. including Donbass and Crimea? And who would oversee such a referendum in all the differently controlled regions? And could any outcome ever be trusted? But there's two things I doubt that Putin would ever agree to. One is a no-fly zone, and the other would be UN peacekeeper boots on the ground in Ukraine. But if there is a peace deal, what happens when the war crimes investigators turn up? And that is something that both sides should be forced to sign up to if they want international support in all of this.